All right. What is up? What is good? Hey everyone, hope you guys are having a phenomenal day today. It is last day of the month. It is Wednesday, May 31st, which means, yeah, it's the last day of the month, on at least on the calendar. And then tomorrow, Thursday, is going to be our next video. And there's another video coming out on Saturday as well. So, pretty cool if you ask me. And for those of you that watched the market review from last night, let me know if you like the captions, because I do plan on putting captions in every single video. So let me know if you guys like it or if you don't like it, and all that. So I found a program that does that, and I think it's very beneficial, so I'm gonna roll with that. But what's good, Ali, Regent, Jesse, Kevin, Miguel, Nikki, Tiago, Andreas, Morty, and Bonnie, and Alex? What up? What up? Nice music. Yeah, it's just the YouTube some non-copyright playlist. I gotta find more music though. I'm running behind today again. Dude, I'm telling you, I've been in absolute grind mode. Some of the videos that are going to be coming out, some of the content that's going to be coming out is going to be way better than a lot of the stuff that I've done in the past. So if you thought my previous work was great, strap the fuck in, because we're fixing to elevate to something completely different. Completely different. See guys, there's a really big difference between live streaming and then having that recorded, and then actually doing videos where I can edit, I can do captions, I can have, you know, more visuals and a lot more editing essentially, right? And that completely is way better for content, you know what I mean? Plus, there is no on YouTube, there is like damn near ultimate freedom. There is like no limitations here. So I don't have to make a video an hour long. I can make that bitch 20 minutes and call it a day, you know? And so I feel like that's going to save you guys a lot of time, you know, versus, you know, trying to, like, let's say an hour a day. It's like, okay, well, if I condense that hour down to 20 minutes, if you still want to use that hour, well, now you got that 20-minute lesson and you got an extra 40 minutes to do something else like read or back test or something else. So I want to free up some time for you guys as well. So that's another like really big key about YouTube, you know. So I'm excited for that, saving you guys time and having better presentations. So that's a double whammy, man. The double whammy. Jesse likes the captions. Andreas likes it. Nick and Ali, or Ali, appreciates it. That is awesome. I appreciate that. It's already Thursday for Bonnie. All right. Interesting. Interesting. I know we're all different. Respectfully, I love videos. You like videos longer? So, Kevin, you want videos longer than 30 minutes. You want long form content. That's what you're telling me. Is that what you're telling me? You like the long form content? In an ideal world, I want to have all of it. Short form, medium form, long form. That way everybody can just have what they want and don't need to, you know, bitch to me about it. I'm not saying you're doing that, but I'm just saying it's like if I had short form, medium, and long form, it's like watch what you want. Watch what you want. Know what I mean? Looking at Dow for short. Well, I mean, maybe. I don't know. We have some lows here and price didn't come down to those lows, but the S&P has taken lows. So for me, it's a little bit hard to discern what we're going to do here in the afternoon. If anything, I may prefer longs. And let me give you a quick update on what we were looking for yesterday. We did outline that 41.96 level. However, that was met prior to London. So I'm not doing anything with that. And we completely tore through that. But we are actually in a lower imbalance down in here. Okay. So the timing of that, like this was completely disrespected. And this is why timing is so important. We have essentially, we offered buy side here, buy side delivery here, and then now we have sell side delivery on small time frames. It looks like these really small areas of liquidity have been swept. Okay, so if anything, I might actually end up looking for longs. But we'll have to see. Guys, make sure that you drop a like on the video. That way you know our sound check. You already know our sound check. We got to do it. We got to do it. Just to make sure. And then we'll briefly touch on the euro and stuff as well. Kind of follow up from yesterday what we were looking for on the topic of discernment. Know what I'm saying? Hi, Spy. Welcome to Tier 2. Welcome to Tier 2 membership. You now have access to community posts, which have some markups on it. You have access to some of the, well, all of the member-only videos. And now you have a sniper next to your name, and you have the emojis as well. So, welcome. Welcome, I Spy. Long form content, straight to the point. So Ali doesn't want long form content. You want straight to the point. Less than 30 minutes. I goofed the less than part. Okay. So Kevin wants short to medium term. 30 minutes and less, I think, is like medium term. Anything longer than 30 minutes, I think, is more so long term. So, I mean, I know, guys, I've had presentations in the past that were an hour and a half. You know, so I get that. And if you're someone like me who looks at that and goes, fuck, I instantly put the speed on 1.5. 1.5 speed. It saves a lot of time in the end. Paper trading NASDAQ. Man, so swiping the lows. I'm assuming you meant to say equal lows. Feels better with the sniper. Yeah, it's awesome. That is awesome. I only wants 5-minute video. Oh Jesus, 5-minute videos. I don't know about that. I don't know about the 5-minute videos. Okay. Anyway, I think today is almost a repeat of yesterday in terms of the predominant focus has been lower. So trying to play reversals for the upside, I think is going to be a little bit of a struggle. It's going to be difficult. There's an imbalance here. I'm assuming that the market wants to trade back into if it offered not enough buy side delivery. If it's only offered sell side delivery, then it's probably going to look to trade up into this. So we shall see. But yeah, it's been a rough week so far. I haven't traded anything this week, but it's been rough as far as what I've been able to look for. Because I'm like, oh, I expect this, and then it doesn't happen. I'm like, all right. And I expect something else, and it doesn't happen. I'm like, well, all right then. You know what I mean? It was yesterday was Tuesday. I think it was in here. I went over this in the market review from yesterday. We looked at this imbalance, right, as a potential buying opportunity, but the biggest thing here is that was met at 250. That was met 10 minutes before the close. All right, so entering the market 10 minutes before the stock exchange closes, that's not a good idea. Oh, that was on NASDAQ. I'm tripping. No wonder. I'm like, where the fuck are my markups? That 2 to 3, that last hour here, 2 to 3. Okay, it traded into that right before the close. That's not something that you want to do. All right. So if you were looking to trade that yesterday, that's why either, if you did take that, it didn't go anywhere, and then eventually it traded lower. So, continuing on the topic from yesterday, we talked about discernment, right? Discerning, are we in high probability reversals? The whatever concept that we're looking at, is it trading into that at the right time? Do we have relative strength analysis on our side? Like, all of these things play a factor. So if we can at least find a trade opportunity, I might not be able to find a trade opportunity on every live stream. That's just the reality of it. Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty decent analyst, but I'm not going to find everything, or I'm not going to find something every day. And if I did, it wouldn't be, super, super accurate. So if anything, I still want to be able to teach you guys some level of discernment here to kind of like filter out, oh, this might look good, but it might not be worth taking, or, oh, this looks pretty good, and I might have a higher level of confidence. Kevin's guilty of the 1.5 speed. I understand, bro. I understand. Even before TikTok and before Reels and YouTube Shorts, like before all this stuff, there was content out there on YouTube that was 3 hours, 2 hours, and a lot of us just would rather watch someone that's 30, 45 minutes. I mean, straight like that, but over time, our attention span's been getting shorter and shorter and shorter. So I think that's not necessarily a good thing, but we'll figure it out. We will figure it out. So Jesse wants 15 to 45 minutes. That's probably ideal. Now, the presentation I'm working on today, depending on how the editing process goes, like cutting out the spaces and flukes and shit like that, that I think is going to be a longer video because it's a lot of information. It's actually on goal setting. That's why it's going in the playlist for students, because that's kind of I wouldn't call it a prerequisite, but I would put that in the beginner playlist, because you need to understand a lot of things of what I believe about goal setting, and then using those ideas and applying it to trading and stuff like that. Because I even spoke to a gentleman earlier on Instagram. He had reached out to me and had some questions, and one of the things he asked was, how can I be caught up to speed as soon as possible? And the first thing I told him was, well, drop the speed aspect. Like, stop, trying to rush success, especially with trading, because this is a very slow and methodical process that can only be sped up so much. You can't fast forward experience, and you're only going to get experience with time, and then understanding with time as well. So you're trying to rush something that physically cannot be rushed. It's almost like cooking. If I get a family size, not that I would do this, but if I got a family size frozen lasagna, right? What's it going to say? It's going to say preheat to 425, place in the oven for 45 minutes. Am I going to turn the oven to 500 degrees and try and do it for 30 minutes? Like, no, it's not going to be right. It's going to fuck it up. And trading is the same way. I mean, any career path that you choose is going to be the same way. Some people call it the crock pot mindset. I call it the pizza rolls mindset. That's in the that one video, Unlock Your Potential, a psychology discussion. That was in that too. So, a lot of these ideas are going to overlap with one another. I'll put our member goal up here, even though it's wrong. We actually have more members than that, but I haven't updated it yet. So, and you're right, it is a marathon, not a sprint. Can we take a look at British pound? Yeah, we can. We can. Well, let's do euro first, because I want to do a follow up on that. So we talked about this, right, on the live session, specifically saying, look, this was a potential mitigation, and you do have a nice run up here that could be seen as an imbalance. However, what do you remember? Actually, we'll leave this up here. We talked about what? How Monday's high here had already been taken. So there's an upside objective, because we already know one of the objectives for intraday trading or intra-week trading is previous day's high and previous day's low. We already had some lows taken. We had our high taken, then met a potential mitigation. So we saw that as maybe, but I wouldn't. So it gives you a little bit. I mean, it rallies like 10, maybe 15 pips. So you're going to have like 12 with spread, right? And then what does it do? It completely wipes everyone out who was trying to long that. Just complete destruction. Okay. So yeah, there was something off the higher time frame here, but you got to understand that high probability intraday trading, for me, okay, my interpretation is that something off the higher time frame, yes, but you also need a high probability target. That's why when I made the mitigation model, okay, when I gave you guys the mitigation model a few like a month or two ago, I don't remember when it was, and I will put that out here on YouTube again. The mitigation model, you have to have a target, otherwise there's no trade, right? Because again, you can see clean setups, but this is, and I'm going to make a video on this as well. I'm going to make a video on common smart money trader mistakes, and this is one of them, where your timing is wrong or your context is wrong, because the setup can be clear as day. Okay. But just because it sets up nicely doesn't mean that it's still going to be a good trading opportunity. Okay. So again, it's a skill worth learning, not just show me when to get in and when to get out and, you know, what an entry looks like. I can show you entries all over the place, but that doesn't mean that, all of those are going to be a good trade, right? If you were trying to long that and it just gets sliced, bro, it would have ran straight to your stop loss. So sometimes it's not about knowing when to trade, but sometimes it's about knowing when not to trade. Okay. Now, we already established that Euro GBP has been, I don't really look at trending markets like that, but we know that Euro British pound cross pair has consistently been trading lower, right? Okay. So you see the Euro continuing to trade lower and British pound really isn't. I mean, it made a low here during London and it's rallied a little bit, but it's like not going lower the same way that Euro is. So it's continuing to show that strength over the Euro USD. What video is the mitigation model? Well, it's not on here. It was in it was on my previous channel. So I'll have to redo that presentation. Which again, a lot of the presentations that I've done for you, I still have. So all I got to do is re-record them and you'll have them again. Context is still something that I struggle with. Well, yeah, Andreas, that's you know, I'm not the greatest trader in the world, but you know, this is why I'm here. This is why I present these ideas to you guys to kind of give you my thought process and my opinion on what I think the market may or may not do. And you'll see me get it wrong, but a lot of the times what we have done here is discernment, not entering even though it looks clean, or you know, weeks like last week where we saw the what's it called, Dow Jones, right, that little gap, and we saw explosive movement from that, right? That was fun. And I wish every day was like that, but it's not going to be, at least with me. All right. So there's some quick updates for you. And I think one of you mentioned this, one of you talked earlier about the NASDAQ, something about lows. Is this what you were referring to? Oh, that's on a closing. Well, actually, you know what? You're right. So it does make equal lows here. That may be problematic going long for the S&P. I think you got a good point there. Dow has a small time frame equal lows, so not the same. It's more of like, you know, a small 1 minute time frame is cool, but the 5 minute there is fuck. Here you go with that bullshit. E-mini swept that actually. E-mini swept that. Let me see what the triple Qs did. Oh, and the trip. See, this is that bullshit, bro. And this is something that I still don't get as well. So you have micro higher low. E-mini swept. Triple Qs equal. So you have three assets that essentially look at the same shit, but they're all different, bro. Like, come on. So then how do you know which one to trust? Like, for me, it's like, well, shit. I guess E-mini is probably the one. If I had to choose, I would say E-mini probably has the say so. You know what I mean? But it's almost uncomfortable going, all right, well, E-mini swept, so we're going to try and long regardless of the triple Qs having equal lows. So it's like, all right. So then it just comes down to what you want to do, I guess. So I guess we'll watch for that. We will watch, excuse me, the E-mini, sorry. So by definition, if this is a lower low that did run stops, and I don't, and we're way up here on a daily. We're way up there. I'm just trying to see if there was anything over here worth noting. So you have a 15-minute imbalance here. So that was from Friday at the end of the morning session here. You have one single 15-minute candle there. The price is currently respecting and reacting from. So that may be our low of the day. And the triple Qs is and it's hard to explain, but it's an index ETF. And it measures essentially the NASDAQ tech stocks, Apple and Google, Netflix, and whatever. So the triple Qs or the ETF in the NASDAQ, the E-mini NASDAQ futures are NQ. So by definition, technically, this may end up being a mitigation, but it depends on multiple factors. Obviously, it depends on how we leave that. And again, as always, I would have preferred a decent target. And I guess we could outline an imbalance here on a 15-minute time frame, and on a 5-minute, you could refine that a little bit, maybe by this lower one, just above that short-term high here. So that might be something. We'll have to wait and see. We'll have to wait and see. So with 50, what were we at yesterday? 57, and then I think one more joined yesterday, and I think we had, or like after the stream, we had, I think, one yesterday and then one today. So we might be at 59. We might be at 59 members. So we're actually making some good progress, which is cool because that's actually in alignment. Is one of the things that is about goal setting, which again, you're going to see. I'm going to assume that it's going to be next week. I just got to do some final touches on the presentation. I got to obviously record the presentation, and then I got to edit and all that. So it is going to take a little bit of time, but I promise I think it's going to be worth it. So it's not going to be the 8-minute how to read a book or the 5-minute how to take notes. Okay. It's going to be long. Okay. So we see the S&P trading into that 15-minute imbalance that we outlined a little bit ago. So we're getting a decent start to the afternoon session, at least on the upside. The Dow's moving, but it's not doing a whole lot. It's not doing anything crazy. So there was one thing I was looking at earlier. I can't remember what it was. So on a 5-minute time frame, it does look like you have some sort of overlap here. Between the two. So you do like, so if this was a true stop run and rebalance on the 15-minute, that I would trust to be our low of the day. This is an obvious break of structure or shift in market structure, however you want to interpret it. And it's, and what is it called? It's for interpretation, open for interpretation, I guess. Ambiguous, maybe? I don't know. So that might be something. That might be something. So what we're gonna do is take off the 15-minute. I'm gonna leave the 5 up there instead, and I'm gonna mark that short-term high as well, the one that we outlined a few minutes ago, the 14,333.75 level. It's liquidity above a short-term high on the upper half of the range. I'm pretty sure that's the upper half. Oh yeah, just above the upper half. So logically, it makes sense. Everything makes sense here to me. So what do y'all think? Or do y'all not trust the E-mini? Do you think the micros having low resistant lows, you think we're going to give that up and go lower? Y'all got some low resistant lows from Friday. We're getting close to those, probably going to get targeted. What time frame are you referring to on the Dow here? On like a 1 hour, maybe? You said Friday. So you're talking about these. I did consider that as well. It's possible, but we would have to get a pretty decent sell-off here in the afternoon to get that. Well, looks like that high and that imbalance is going to be met before any opportunity on downside. I don't trust E-mini. You think the lows. All right. So you think maybe take a short-term high, hit that imbalance to go lower. So you're saying trade up and then something like that. Is that what you're telling me? That's a possibility. Logan could see that. Well, if anything, I would have preferred to go long. Maybe I'm wrong. Man. Especially since those low resistant lows are sitting down there. Well, yeah, Logan, that's the argument that I was making earlier. How we have low resistant lows on the micro, which I could easily see the justification for a short given short-term high and an imbalance, right? But that's the argument I was making. Well, technically E-mini swept that low and rebalanced price on the 15-minute, or at least offered, it had buy side only. Now we've offered sell side. So now that we've left this, this seems balanced. So upside, I think, would be there. So now what do you do here? And let me give you my thought. When I have a target that is met, I usually won't trade it again. Like, so for example, we were outlining, well, this might be a mitigation later. We had an imbalance here too. It was like, okay, well, if we come back into that, then maybe that's a long. But the target that we've had, short-term high and imbalance, that's already been met. So then it becomes, well, maybe I'm right and I can pick a higher target, or I'm just wrong and just give up the idea completely. Where it's like, okay, my target's been hit, I'll just cancel my order. Like if I had an order in here ready to go. So it is hard to say. Trillionaire, it has been tough today. Or this week rather. Now, so I mean, Twitter, you know, it's mixed. Some people have done good, some people haven't. I haven't done anything, so I'm not on either side of that spectrum today, or this week rather. So yeah, it is difficult to say. So we'll leave this here. Matter of fact, what we'll do is we'll screenshot this. So that way this evening we can come back to NASDAQ and see if this idea played out or not. So I guess, yeah, if we start gunning lower, we could probably take those lows. The Dow, maybe some small time frame scalps to run these lows if we end up just giving this up and going lower. Let me pull up another chart of mine. And I might have to take a quick break here for like maybe 5 or 10 minutes. You know, grab a bagel, use the bathroom, grab a drink, you know, something like that. Because I didn't do that. I've literally been at my computer the last 4 hours and some change. So I gotta stand up. You know what I mean? Like the real Slim Shady. I need to move around and stand up. You know what's interesting too, chat, is I weighed myself last night and I actually lost weight. Again, I'm back to 178 now. I'm like, well, fuck. Like, I barely even exercise. What the fuck? Looking at the relative strength chart, it's hard to say. Because the lows are not even lined up. Yeah. It's been a rough week in terms of analysis. 100%. So there's that. Marwin hasn't traded all week. Neither have I. Andreas took a short on NASDAQ today. Got stopped out with 3 points. Oh, got stopped out and then it dumped. Yeah, that's unfortunate. That is unfortunate. Oh, shit. We fucking blasted through that. See, in days like today is when I used to get really frustrated. Sometimes I still do, because I go, well, we outlined that, or like on E-mini, like, oh, we outlined that this was a run on stops. Where the fuck is the retracement? What was the retracement, bro? At least on a 5 minute. I mean, on a 1 minute, you could argue this. You could argue this mitigation on a 1 minute time frame. Right? You have a fractal high here, breaks through that. So there's your break of structure down and into that 1 minute candle. And I don't think there was any, oh, I lied. There was an imbalance here. There was a gap right there, and there's a 5 minute imbalance here. Right there. I mean, it looks terrible on a 5 minute, but now that makes a little bit more sense here. 5-minute imbalance, 1-minute mitigation. That makes a lot of sense now. All right, well, miss that boat. Miss that boat. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? Tisk, tisk. Hey, you know, John, I always make bad decisions if I don't eat before the charts. Well, here's the thing, man. I don't know why I'm this way, but I've always just despised getting up early, and I've always despised eating breakfast right when I wake up. So in the military, dude, I almost never had breakfast. Dude, I haven't had breakfast, honestly, in probably like 5 years. Unless it's breakfast for dinner or breakfast tacos at lunch. But I'm saying like waking up early and having a good breakfast before like 9 a.m. I never do it. Never do it. So I'm used to like not eating the first half of the day. This is my breakfast. The rain or bang energy, that's my breakfast. I know a lot of you guys don't like that. You think it's unhealthy? I mean, you're not wrong. But you know, we are our habits, right? And that's a habit that I have. So anyway, let's talk a little bit more about discernment here. So some of you might have looked at this. If you know my routine on Scalper's Paradise, the Scalper's Paradise idea, okay, equal lows, right? Price doesn't really take liquidity, but you do have a break of structure here, and then you have an imbalance, and you even have this gap right here. So why didn't that work? Why didn't price come into the imbalance and then trade lower down to the equal lows? That's why I told you when we looked at this, what did we flop back and forth from? Dow Jones to S&P. The S&P had taken those lows already. That was at what, 1152? 1152 is here on the Dow. So just because there are equal lows doesn't mean the market has to take that. You can still have a divergence there in which we got. Okay? So if you were trying to finesse that short and you got your face ripped off, now you know. The more you know. Are you staying hydrated? Could be water loss. Yeah, I drink well, only one of those, but I have ice drinks and I have my water bottle as well. It's got a filter on it. So yeah, I don't think it's that. Took a short on NASDAQ about 90 minutes ago, went 1-to-1 when it dropped that low and then stopped me out at break even. 90 minutes ago. That's got to be what, an hour and a half? So that's 11:45, so around 11:15. So in here? Oh shit, you said NASDAQ. I'm tripping. In here? You shorted that? Right here? 1 minute gap fill? So I was right then. That 10-minute, get the fuck out of here. 10 minute. I don't even have that bullshit 10-minute chart. What the fuck kind of chart is this? What is this? What is this bullshit? My eyes are burning right now trying to look at this bullshit. You talking about this? Or something here? What are we looking at, bro? What the fuck are we looking at right now? Help me. Help me understand. Took those same shorts, Cameron. All right, we're going to get the hell off that time frame. Because that's worse than a scary movie. The up candle with the 1 minute break happened. Okay. Well, what, you know what? Just send a chart. Can you post a chart? Like, go to TradingView. This is the TradingView. This isn't the website. This is like the actual program. But if you go to like tradingview.com and you do a screenshot, send me the link to it. I want to see it. I don't care if it's a 10-minute chart or a 1 minute. Y'all think it's funny. You got a fucking headache looking at that. Micro didn't take the low on NASDAQ, but E-mini did? Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. That low was here. Swept on E-mini. I mean, you did have a mitigation and imbalance here. I mean, it was at a really bad time, though. It was like during lunch. I wouldn't have done that for me personally. I would have left it alone. I would have left it alone. Well, what do we do now? What do we do here? I think it's very hard to say. And let's get rid of these drawings so people don't come in here and think I'm being a goober. Breakfast is your favorite, trillionaire? I mean, I don't have anything against breakfast. It's just the timing of breakfast. I've gotten so used to not eating like the first 6 hours, 12 hours of the day. I'd rather have like brunch or something. Wake up at like 8, hang out till around 11, 12, and then have mimosas and whatever. But a bagel does sound pretty dope right now. Now that it's almost 1 o'clock. When are you going to do videos on going into the times like New York Open, lunch, afternoon open, last hour, and their significance? I'll probably do that on my next video, to be fair. I probably should. So, all right. Let's see if we can work with a little bit more information here. We have, at a minimum, respected the 5-minute imbalance. It overshot it a little bit. That's okay. If anything, it reached a higher one in here. So if we obliterate lower, we may end up getting a scalp to short. Don't quote me on that, though. Don't go, oh, John's looking to short, so I'm going to put the farm on it. Okay, please don't do that. Please don't do that. But it's going to have to show a real strong willingness to do that. In order to convince me that that's what it wants to do. So we'll watch. I guess we'll watch the NASDAQ today then. And then we'll go from there. Yeah. Definitely in that context, 400% on his account in a day. I've never made 400% in a day. I mean, I've seen options do that, but not on the overall account. Unless you just put like $100 or $200 into some account that you just YOLO. I mean, okay, but I don't do things like that. But yeah, that video will be a lot shorter though. I might be able to make that. What's today? Wednesday? I might be able to make that within the next couple of days, and then I might put that out on Monday or Tuesday next week. Because I still want to finish up what I'm doing now, and then I'll get to that next. Okay. So if it were me, and I think we're gonna take a break here in just a minute because I definitely need to eat. What we're gonna do is probably take like 10 minutes, maybe 15. So what we'll do, we'll leave here at 12:55, and we'll come back at 1:10. So 10 minutes after the hour. Okay. That way I can grab a drink, grab a little something to eat, and then we can come back for, I don't know if we're going to do the entire afternoon session, but we'll come back and see if there's anything. And then if not, we'll probably just shut it down for the day. Okay? Okay. So let me put that on the screen so that way you guys know. That's what I need to get for OBS, a timer, like a be right back, you know, or be back and have like a countdown or some shit. So we'll come back at 1:10. And I'll put the clock up here too. So that way everyone who isn't on Central Time knows that that's the time. Okay. So I will. Oh, I lied. There's a timer at the bottom of the screen down here. But I guess I might as well keep that one up too. All right. So yeah, we'll take a break. We'll come back 10 minutes after the hour, which is about 15 minutes from right now. So I will return. Yo, who's still here? Who's still here? Are we back? Are we back? Man, I gotta stop scrolling through Instagram, man, because I made my bagel and I was putting the cream cheese on it, and I just kept thinking of that guy. I forget his name, but he's always like respect the schmear. He's on Instagram, and a guy from New York. I was putting it on my bagel. I'm like respect the schmear. So I don't know if you guys know who that is, but yeah, we looked at British pound, and it doesn't look. Oh shit, it's moving now. It's moving a little bit. I think yesterday someone asked about 124.70 or 71. And I said, that could be possible. We did get some drawdown before that. Like when we were, I think, in here yesterday, somewhere in here. So that could be on the table, but it's hard to say. Dollar sliding a little bit. And with that dollar sliding, looks like the indices have been rallying. So there is that. So we have a higher Dow, a higher S&P, and a slightly lower NASDAQ. Huh. Interesting. Interesting. Was good, Ibanez? Miguel. I think that was it. As far as like who hopped on a little bit later. Well, it doesn't look like we are going to get any shorts on NASDAQ here. And what is that even from? Oh, that's that low that we were looking. I don't know why there's even an alert there. Still, we went through that yesterday. So we will see if the NASDAQ follows suit with a higher high. So I would keep that in mind for now. I mean, it's relevant on small time frame. So NASDAQ is the only one who has not traded higher here. So the S&P has, the Dow has, but the NASDAQ has not. So I would be aware of that. Now, if the NASDAQ does come up and make a new high, then I wouldn't do anything with that. But as of right now, as of this moment, that may be important. Could be. I'm just gonna look at this other chart here for a minute as well. And we got to get our timing up here. So it's 1. So we have 1 to 2. And then our 2 to 3 final hour. Did you guys take a break, or have you been looking at the charts this whole time? My thoughts on gold. You guys took a break. Allie was eating. What'd you have to eat? I'm curious. Silver's recovering a little bit. Decent update today. And gold is barely up. So there's definitely a divergence there. If you look on the daily, silver trading higher there. Whereas gold traded lower. A little bit of manipulation there is what that looks like. And I think we outlined that yesterday too. On just a smaller time frame though. Because I think we had on the 1 hour looked at it, because we looked at this nonsense here. And I told you that if it were me, just delete that altogether. So I'm not surprised that we're trading higher, but I did not find anything in here to trade personally. If I had to say though, I'd probably be bullish, given that divergence there. We've met some upside, short-term upside targets already, so it might be a little bit late to do anything, and we're at the higher end of the day's range, so just be careful. Yeah, so it's hard to say right now on an intraday basis if I had not already been long. But yeah, look how choppy this is. Heavily manipulated market. Went outside in the garden. Yeah, I went outside as well. All of like 6 minutes. It's cool. I'll be outside a little bit later though. It's hot as fuck, man. It's humid. Alex went, Alex, how did you go grocery shopping in like 10 minutes? That is a whole new level of productivity. 100%. You got to let me in on that. I'm trying to consider. I don't think this is going to take place, but I'm trying to justify that being a mitigation, and without the higher high, it's not. It probably would have been nice though, because it would have been nice to see 5 minute respected and then 1 minute mitigation to go lower. That would have been nice, but I don't, we're not going to get that. Raw vegetables and balsamic vinegar. I call it a salad, but no one agrees with me because there's no lettuce. I think I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Oh, it sounds healthy though. I tell you that. It does sound healthy. And I'm not the healthiest person, so may not want to take food advice from me. I'm trying to get street tacos with all the green sauce and extra onions and, you know, all that. And then tres leches, the back door. Oh man, so good. So good. Man, I love my Mexican friends, bro. Their parents cooked so, I mean, it's ridiculous, bro. Everything they make is top tier. We had what did we have? Not last weekend, but the weekend before. We had something. It was somebody's birthday. My friend's wife. And yeah, so we were over there, and then her mom brought tres leches. Dude, I should have taken a picture of the to-go box. So, you know, everybody left and they hand out to-go boxes, right? Bro, that whole container, y'all know the styrofoam ones, right? That whole first section, that entire block was tres leches. I'm like, dude, did you even save some for everybody else? The fuck? Big ass piece, dude. I was eating that shit for like 3 days. And I still had to throw some of it away, bro. It was a lot. When you were playing soccer, yeah, matter of fact, that was that same day, yeah. Now that I think of it. Now that I think of it. Yeah, and green enchiladas, yep. And rice too. I'll actually be back over there on Friday. I think we're gonna have a barbecue. So Fridays are a good day to cheat. Cheat days. Cheat on your diet, not on your significant other. Just for clarification. Not that that should be clarified, but I'll just make sure that we're all on the same page. That we're all in the same order flow here. No imbalances in understanding, right? You don't trade Kiwi anymore? No, not really. I hardly ever trade currencies anymore. I'm almost strictly indices. I think people would understand if you just did some math. Think about it. We're going to go back to the Dow one more time, okay? Matter of fact, we'll just look at yesterday. And these are the markups from the trade review, okay? So this is what I want you to understand. Can we do let's see if I can log into a paper trading account. All right. So I want you to look at this for a minute. If we did an order yesterday, okay? If we shorted that gap here at 33,160, so we'll put a sell limit at 33,160 and the TP 32,960 just for measurement. Okay, that's all we're doing is just measuring. 32,960. Okay? That right there, from that gap to 960, just the higher end of that imbalance, that is $1,000 move. Okay? So that is $1,000 for every contract. Think about that. So that means if you had 2 contracts, that would be, if it's not going to update, it would be more than that. Okay? Oh, well, what the fuck? I don't know why it just changes like that. So 3 contracts would have been $3,000. That's what I'm saying. So if that's all I'm saying is if you just did some simple math, I think you would understand why index futures are, you know, pretty solid. If you get it right, of course, because obviously if you fuck it up, you'll get your face ripped off. But it, you know, you guys, if you want to understand why I do certain things, okay, that's why. USD CAD, I don't look at USD CAD, Jesse. I mean, I'll look at it a little bit later, but I'm trying to see if we end up so the Dow, I mean, has been consistently trading higher. The S&P, it made that new high here, and it just hasn't been able to maintain that. And the NASDAQ still has not made a higher high. So if we end up breaking these lows here, you even see a trend line right here too. So I would say, if it were me, I'd probably look at this low. And if we end up just breaking that, that may be the justification for going lower. So if we do go lower, like to 14,250, we would have to push through this imbalance here on a 5-minute time frame. And I still believe that somewhere up here would be above the current range of the day, like a intraday range rather. Yeah. So if we're able to get a short above this level, then maybe. Know what I'm saying? Because that, to me, at least signifies weakness. The afternoon session open is here. It's right there. Our 8:30 opening is here. So I know it's kind of a lot. It's a lot of drawings in here, but essentially it's above stock exchange open. It's above the afternoon open. We've got liquidity below both opens. So again, maybe. Like if there was some level of justification, then yeah. But again, as mentioned earlier, if you weren't here, I think this isn't a bad setup per se, but what is holding me back from, like, what's not giving me confidence is, again, how we swept a low on E-mini, but we left them open on the micro. So that still, like, that throws me off a little bit. But if I guess if I had to take a trade today, I would look to short. And that means we would have to get another leg of distribution on the day. And if not, then whatever. Then it's whatever. So we'll keep an eye on that. I guess we'll look at USD CAD. Ugh. Grody. Range bound on the weekly, so it's pretty much near the midpoint of this entire range. And then the daily, same thing. I mean, there's not going to be too much of a difference in range from the weekly and daily when it's outlined like that. So we ran some highs. I would assume that we would run some lows next. I don't think those are equal though. But yeah, it's been getting crushed. I don't keep up with oil. I really don't keep up with USD CAD at all either. I mean, but strictly based on price action, this looks bearish. But USD CAD is my least favorite currency outside of like cross pairs and stuff like that. It is, I don't know, something about it. I mean, do you have an opinion, Jesse? Are you looking for something specific on USD CAD? Triple Q's, man. Wickless candle in an imbalance on the 1 hour. I don't know where you're looking at for that. This I could see as an imbalance below lows. Oh, are you talking about down here, maybe? Like way down here? That right there? And there's a lack of wick on that candle. Probably. Near 3560. Up here somewhere? Which low, Jesse? Just a down candle inside that imbalance you have marked. I don't want to chase a reversal. NASDAQ playing with me. Is it a down candle just before the higher imbalance, maybe? What are we talking about, Andres? Oh, this one? That one? Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. Maybe. On the 24th. Yeah, so I guess that's the one you're referring to. It's possible. That would be within the lower end of that. I mean, yeah, I could see that. Look at today's candle though. I mean, it came all the way up to 36.50 and then slammed all the way down to 35.75. That's rough. That is rough, man. I'm trying to see if it wants to break those lows here. And you guys kind of see what I'm talking about too? Like you could see kind of this trend line here. And when I'm looking at this other screen, I'm swapping between like because I still want to watch the S&P and the Dow too. Like I want to see if they, you know, trade aggressively lower as well because that's really the only thing that would be convincing. In this 5 minute, it's spending a lot of time here. Like a lot. It spent a lot of time in this afternoon. Well, not the session per se. At the afternoon session, we did rally, but then we've been stuck in this tight range here. So at this point, it still may get back in sync with the other indices. So just because it made a lower high here doesn't mean it won't get back in sync and then, you know, make a new high with the other indices. You see what I'm saying? Like that's still possible. And now it's like 24, maybe 23 and a half minutes until the final hour now. S&P looks like it wants to go higher to me. Am I crazy? No. No. We talked about how this is a lower. We talked about how this is a 1 hour imbalance and that it filled in, bodies respecting it. And then we talked about how there was that divergence here with Dow. S&P ran the lows. That's how you know it's manipulation. So it's been rebalanced on the 1 hour. They ran lows and then they took off. So, you know, what are they going to reach for at this particular point? Well, the only high that I could think of is the next available one at 42.04 and a half. We ran through that 15-minute imbalance. So anyone who's been short from this morning, if they've held on too long, you're going to have liquidity here. It doesn't have to get there, and I might be wrong, but I feel like that would be smart money distribution. If it was smart money accumulation, then it would make sense for distribution up here. Or I can be wrong, and if we're going to trade lower, then we could. But the NASDAQ needs to show that willingness to do that if it's going to. Lewis screaming at me over here in the chat with the all caps. All right, Andreas, have a good one. It came down past the 50% on the daily range. Oh, okay. So there's a discount for you. There'd be a discount for you, logically. Equal highs a bit further above. On the S&P, I think you're right. Up here at 42.10 and a half. It could. It's only 13 points away from that, roughly. But there's an hour and 20 minutes. So it needs to show willingness to do something. Because right now it's not really clear, at least in my opinion, on what it wants to do. If we get a huge movement lower, I think a retracement could be shortable for those lows. But then that last hour is going to have to really, really show some volatility. Because if it doesn't, then we may not get there. That's your 2 to 3 hour. So that means if we do that today, we would essentially need to replicate this morning. We'd have to replicate like this move right here. Oops. In order to get that. So it's going to have to show, you know, something convincing lower in order for me to believe that we would do that. And it's still kind of forming that trend line here as well. Well, I can't stop yawning. Still can't stop yawning, guys. So if we get like one or two like huge down candles, that may be the showing of the hand. I gotta wait. So I really only got one message yesterday in regards to what I had posted about the law of attraction, because there was at least one person that reached out to me, I don't know, probably a couple weeks ago, and they asked about, I think it was Think and Grow Rich, and they had said that Stoicism and Think and Grow Rich don't align with each other, or you know, they're not in agreement. And I could see that. Okay. And I posted an article yesterday that was written by Ryan Holiday like 3 years ago, or maybe it may be a little bit older than that. But Ryan Holiday, which you guys know is essentially a mentor of mine, you know, for Stoic philosophy, if you will. He thinks that the law of attraction is bullshit. So, although I think I understand what he's saying, but at the same time, and this is why I followed up with, I wouldn't say that the law of attraction is worthless. I think there's some merit to it, but I would say, I don't know all about law of attraction, but a good portion of it is in alignment with some level of Stoic ideas. So I was going to make a story on this today or yesterday. I didn't get around to doing it, but the Stoics, Seneca, Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, they were not just deep thinkers. They weren't just teachers. Well, Marcus wasn't a teacher per se, but Epictetus was. And one of the things that Epictetus talks about is, he says, don't talk about your philosophy, embody it. So in other words, don't talk about it, be about it. So the Stoics were about action. And I think he also, this is like a real basic, but he also said, first say what you want to be and then do what you have to do. So in other words, take action. And Marcus Aurelius talks about how the obstacle is the way. To do nothing is an act of injustice, right? So Marcus Aurelius, as emperor of Rome, okay, leader of the army and whatnot, he took action probably more than anybody else. I mean, he was, traveling and taking over cities or whatever and all that they did. So, their lives were based on action. And so that, I think, is Ryan Holiday's point. But he discredits the idea that you could just think about some shit and then, obtain it. And there's a really big kind of troll from Ryan and even from Dave Chappelle. If you read the article, let me pull it up for a second so I can be accurate with what I'm about to tell you, so I don't fuck it up. So they trolled Rhonda, Byrne, Byron. Oh fuck, I don't know. But anyway, the author of The Secret. And so they trolled her because, or at least Ryan trolled her on the fact that she listed her sale or her mansion for sale from Santa Barbara for $23.5 million. So she bought it for $23.5 million, and a year later she tried to sell it for $18.8 million. After 5 years of having not selling, she finally sold it for $13.6 million. So that was $5 million less than she paid for it. So Ryan trolls her on that. And then I think it was Dave Chappelle who was a little bit more harsh. And he talks about Dave Chappelle's joke was that Rhonda should fly to Africa and tell those starving children her secret, that all they need to do is just visualize some roast beef, some mashed potatoes, and some gravy. So, but at the same time, I think part of that message is taken out of context, because I've read some articles on law of attraction, and they do say that, action is required. But I think it's that people, not everybody, but I think it's some people that teach law of attraction forget that. And I think they focus too much on the thinking part or the manifesting part. And I guess they forget the action taking, I guess. I don't know. But at the end of the day, if I had to choose, I guess a school of thought between law of attraction and Stoicism, I would go with Stoicism 10 times out of 10. Also, Stoicism predates pretty much everything. Every religion, Stoicism predates that. So it's just, to me, it's more practical. And that's what Stoics were about. They were about practicality and shifting your way of thinking. So they didn't, try to do no crazy shit. It was more like, do what you got to do. Don't be a victim. Whatever you suffered through made you better, and you got this. You know what I mean? So that, that I can respect. because it's applicable to everybody, and it doesn't matter what your belief system is, whether you're religious or not, because it's not based on anything that's like metaphysical or outside of thought. You know what I mean? Shit, if anything, Stoicism in general, like Stoic text and Christianity, they help confirm one another. I think I mentioned that before. Like everyone knows about Jesus, right? Because there's so much text and like evidence on it. And that's what I'm saying. When we talked about Seneca's brother, I forget he had two different names, so it's hard to keep up with, but it was Seneca's brother who was basically the judge for, I think, Paul the Apostle. And so Paul the Apostle went in front of Seneca's brother, and Seneca's brother was like, look, like the Jews at the time, he was like, y'all Jews, you do what you want to do. Y'all deal with your shit between y'allselves. You haven't broken any Roman laws, so I'm going to stay out of it. So he didn't condemn Paul the Apostle. And he didn't really help him either, but he at least, didn't. Oh shit, that's a big fucking 1 minute candle right there. Excuse my language. But that looks like some pretty good evidence to me. So that means S&P ripped down, kinda. Well, I would have preferred not to do that. I would have preferred to break structure, but then not trade into the imbalance just yet. So again, if we're bearish, we want to see this imbalance traded through. If we're bullish, you would want to see this be respected to go higher. Okay? And so now it's like meeting that criteria we were looking for earlier, that imbalance here with that mitigation here. But the upside target that we had for this setup has already been met. So I'm not looking at this like a long. I mean, it could be, but I'm not looking at it that way. But yeah, it's flopped. See, it couldn't make a new high. Yet, at least. What do y'all think? Where should you start with Stoicism? Well, I think the easiest text to read and one of the shortest texts to read is The Art of Living by Epictetus. That's a book written by Sharon LaBelle. That will give you a really good idea on some main points from Epictetus. And after that, I'd probably go with Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. So, and look, just like with every other book that I've recommended with you guys, I don't listen to everything that they say. Okay? Plus, it's also confusing to a degree because at the time, so and this is where the details get all blurred because it's hard to say. Epictetus lived prior to Seneca and obviously Jesus Christ. So what they believed in was they use God and Zeus like interchangeably. So it's hard to determine what they had believed in, especially with Marcus, because he refers to God and then he refers to Zeus and then he refers to the gods. So there's just a little bit of confusion, there. So if you're someone who obviously as a person of faith, you might struggle with that a little bit. Like, well, what's he believe? I don't know. So if there's maybe a line or a paragraph that you don't like, well, he's talking about the gods, and I only believe there's one God. Okay, well then just draw a line through that paragraph and move on. You know? But that's only going to be a very small portion of meditations. The rest of it is going to be more thought process and, you know, action oriented and stuff like that. So, just forewarning you guys who want to get into stuff like that, if you happen to be a person of faith, then just be aware of that. Don't be like, oh, John put me on this bullshit ass. You know what I mean? Wow, that hit perfectly right there. We're coming up on that final hour. So, man, part of me wants to short because of the lows. And part of me wants to long because of that potential mitigation here. So I guess if we do anything, it's probably going to be with reduced risk. I wouldn't go full risk on anything here today. What are you guys feeling? You guys feeling long or short? I think things would have been a little bit more clear if we didn't have the way that the lows set up today on the indices. Like if you look at a 5-minute chart of all three indices, the lows from today are so discombobulated, it's ridiculous. Ali says, I don't know anymore. George says long. Lucas says short. Trendline liquidity from Sunday. Yeah, I don't know. So let's lighten this up a little bit. Well, I guess we will see what we do at this up candle here. I guess we'll see what we do there. Either we push through that or trade lower or consolidate. I don't know. It's honestly, it's hard to say. It has not been the cleanest day, in my opinion. And we're coming up on the close of the hour and open of the next hour, too. So just be mindful of that as well. Be mindful of that as well. Oh, the Dow hit that gap on the 1 minute, too. Perfectly. Like, it hit that gap stupendously. Right there. And traded right into that. So, I mean, I think the lows are kind of a long shot, but I don't know. I don't know. All right. Now we are in our final hour. Here we go as part of the watching team today. Makes sense. No worries. Allie has to go. Yeah, have a good hour as well. Have a good final hour. Or whatever it is that you're doing. Whatever it is that you're doing. So interestingly enough, the Dow's kind of chilling there. The S&P slid a little bit, but the Nasdaq is sliding more so. That's definitely interesting. See how Dow is like up here? The S&P is a little bit lower, but like look at that. The Nasdaq is, it retraced, but now it's like almost making a new low. So there's definitely some weakness there. I'll keep it on the Dow. 'Cause I do want to see how we react from that gap right there. I would be curious. Yeah, that low here on the Nasdaq has traded lower, but the Dow is not. It's still up here. Hmm. Relative equal highs on Dow. Which time frame? Remember, guys, if you're gonna ask a question or post something, you gotta be specific. ES kind of struggling a little bit to go higher as well. A little bit. It's hard to say what the downside objective is for ES though. You guys watching Indices with me, or what are y'all watching? And after this, we are going to, well, I'm going to go outside and get some fresh air. Miguel's watching the NASDAQ and Dow. Tiago's watching. Are you watching the Dow with me here? It's spending like the last 12 minutes here. That's a long time. The 5 minute hasn't really done much. I mean, it came down, yes. It came right back up again, and now it's just chilling here. S&P, kind of chilling. Hasn't made a new low from that 150 yet. Or, I mean, I don't know if it will or not. And then you see the NASDAQ, how it's already lower here. And now it's hit that overlap area that we talked about earlier. So this is what I would have wanted to see earlier today. Like what it's doing now, I would have wanted to see prior to this imbalance being met. And if it hadn't, I would be bullish there. But there's only 45 minutes left in the day. So I don't know if I could justify going long. And I think the Dow is actually back above that gap actually here. So it's actually back at that. So the Dow's actually trading higher. You shorted NASDAQ on a 15-minute quick scalp. What's good, prop man? I don't know. Anyway, how important is it to know what the indices are made of? I know that the NASDAQ is tech and so on, but is it important to know the stocks in each index? Should I have a separate watch list? I have a watch list. I like to look at specific stocks within the Dow Jones or some top weighted stocks in the NASDAQ, but and the S&P is like 505 stocks, so I don't think it's necessary to know all of them. But I think it's necessary to know the top weighted ones because when it's earnings season, that's going to affect the indices, especially in the after hours of the pre-market, because earnings can shake up the futures. Like they'll move a lot pre-market or after hours sometimes. Makes sense? I'll probably have to set some alerts. Not alerts, but I'll have to see like when some earnings are so we can watch them. I know I've done that in the past where we've watched like maybe Tesla after hours or some sort of big name that we've watched to potentially see some volatility. So it's been a long time since I've done that. We might have to bring that back. We might have to bring it back. Well, haven't seen too much volatility yet since that one spike around 1:50, 2 o'clock. And this is the boring part. This is the boring part. As Aziz Zillionaire. Oh, okay. I gotcha. Yeah, I'll have to learn everyone's names again here on YouTube. The things we deal with, man. The things we deal with. But what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Oh, your Instagram got deleted? Fuck. What'd you do? What'd you post? Did you post some bullshit? I've seen people's accounts get banned before. I think Jordan's account got banned one time. He had posted about some politician fuckery. And his account got yeeted for that. Just didn't follow Instagram guidelines. Maybe use some swear words they didn't like. Did it too many times. No such thing as free speech. Eesh. Dude, I'd be devastated if I had to build Instagram again. That's my most popular platform. I've only got like 1900 on Twitter. Instagram is my biggest social media, dude. If that was clapped, I would try to be stoic about it, but that first impression, man, is gonna be like, oh, oh. I'd be hurt. I'd be hurt, man. Dow's really not doing anything. S&P's not doing anything either. In terms of trading lower, it's spending a lot of time here. So if I was shorting this gap, I wouldn't stay here. Yeah, that's one thing about just doing business and being a celebrity is when when another entity has control. Why do you think I'm on YouTube? Why do you think I'm on YouTube? Oh, fuck. See, it hit that gap like 3 times. We're coming up in the last 30 minutes. Let's see if we can actually get something here. Even if it's upside, that's fine, but like at least do something. Because we got that nice spike in volatility, but it retraced. It's just not going lower. So could be wrong on it. Could be wrong on the short idea. If we look at the NASDAQ, it's stuck at this overlap between what we outlined earlier. The mitigation and imbalance overlap is here. And we've spent quite a bit of time there. I mean, I guess if you were long, it should start taking off now. What I was watching on my other screen is to see if either we were going to do that. I'm going to just take everything off because it's getting really, really booked up right now. It was either going to do that or respect this imbalance here. I was thinking maybe it could do that. And that's why I was watching the other indices, because I'm like, okay, well, we're sliding lower on the NASDAQ, but the S&P is not really doing anything, and the Dow is actually a little bit higher. So we're still like very mixed in this last hour. Know what I'm saying? But we're gonna close the 30-minute here, 15-minute, and then start the last two 15-minute candles, or the last 6 5-minute candles here. So we'll see what they print. We will see what they print. Look at a 2-minute chart. So we're coming up on the close right now, and then we're gonna head into the last 30 minutes of the day. So let's see if we get anything significant, or if we just dilly dally. And then I'm probably gonna finish this book I got, How to Be a Stoic by Massimo Pigliucci. I'm on the last chapter, so I want to knock this book out and then hop to another one. Well, I got to finish this one and then jot down all the notes, put them on some note cards, and then hop over to another book. Oh, you motherfucker. 1, 2, 3, 4 times into that gap. It's crazy. They can't even tell if it hit that or not. Yeah, kinda. but I wouldn't short that. I don't think I would do anything. Now, there's only 30 minutes left in today. I wouldn't touch anything here. The Dow's hit that gap so many times. It's just not selling off. It's just not really doing anything. But I'll be surprised if we get 14,250 on NASDAQ. I will be very surprised if we get that in the next 30 minutes. I will say, wow. What's good, Moose? What's good, Electric? Oh, no way. No way. We hit that, dude. We smacked into that right there. Oh, man. Look at the accuracy on that. Well, you live and you learn, folks. Now you see why I don't trust gaps or any concept that repeats 2 or 3 times. Now do you see why when it hits that second or third time, I don't like it anymore? Just saw your video about leaving. I am sad but happy for you streaming here. Yeah. Appreciate that. I sent out an email today too, man. Look. I posted on my story that, you know, if people want to talk to you, they'll talk to you. They'll call you, they'll text you, whatever. You know, people will show that they care, but people speak through their actions, not through their words. So, you know, I'm done with empty promises and the drama and just a lot of the fuckery, man. I'm done with it. I'm over it. I'm about to be 30 fucking years old. That, and you know, I can't have years worth of work under someone else's control. Someone mentioned that earlier about Adidas and Kanye West, right? When people have that sort of power over you, they can try to control you. You know what I mean? And I really don't care for that. I don't care for that at all. Man, we're still at that gap, dude. Jesus. Still there. But you know, and I sent out an email just about recognition, dude. You know, not that I want to bitch on here to you guys, but it's like I wasn't recognized for anything. Nothing. You know, no awards, no fucking certificate, no email promotion, no invite to any calls. I mean, nothing, dude. I had over 130, 140 something in the favorite sessions. My channel was the most well put together, organized, fucking comprehensive channel there was. I didn't get any recognition for that at all. Not that I look for it. I mean, I don't demand it, but it's like, dude, I've been here for years, and what do I have? What did I get out of that? AI trading? No, I don't do anything with AI trading. Yeah, I appreciate that 2020. It was like a well-kept library. It was, man. We worked on that shit for over 2 years. Matter of fact, I have a student who showed me their notebooks. More than 3 notebooks, all put, all filled with notes. There was another person that sent me a PDF a while ago, back in January. They had a PDF of my channel, like screenshots and notes and stuff like that. And they sent it to me. That bitch is 900 pages. I gotta look for that. I don't know if I still have it. I know I've downloaded it. It's somewhere. I just don't know if I titled it. If I didn't title it, then I'm gonna have a hard time trying to find it. But I'm not gonna say that I was the #1 educator, because I think that's very arrogant, and I'm pretty sure there's people who can teach better than me. So I wouldn't say that, but I'm pretty sure I was one of the top ones, top rated at least, in terms of visuals and organization and probably quality of content, and I don't say that lightly. You don't really hear me say that out loud a lot. I believe that, but I don't try to flaunt that, like, look at me, look at me. I don't want to do that. But not having any recognition at all, that's kind of fucked, man. Yeah, appreciate that, the Newson. I'm the reason they even have thumbnails to begin with, right? Y'all probably didn't know that. It was like 2.5 years ago. It was like just shortly after I got my channel, or just prior to me getting a channel. We were having a meeting, and one of my boys was talking to the programmers. Oh, that's another thing too. I fucking broke the website. I'll talk to you about that as well. They asked me, they were like, "Hey, do you have any recommendations for, fixing the platform or making it better, improvement, whatever?" And I was like, "Yeah. Make the availability for us to put thumbnails on our videos." And like, I think 2 weeks later, bam, we got it, and we were able to do that. You know what I mean? I had so many videos on my channel, I fucking broke the website, because I kept uploading so many favorites that the old ones started to disappear. The programmers had to fucking, either code it or do some shit to the website to allow for more videos. You know what I mean? Like, if there was ever someone who set the fucking bar, that was definitely probably close to it. So, sometimes things just don't work out, man. Sometimes you give everything into a relationship, and that other person, they just don't appreciate you, or, and you just got to move on. And that's what we did, man. I talk to you guys every once in a while about the legacy move, okay? The legacy move. It means, what are you going to be known for? At the end of your life, what are you going to be known for? Someone like Jordan Peterson, he's known for being, super smart and, personal development, giving people good ideas. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's building a legacy for himself and for his family. He's building his name, right? So for me, it's like, all right, John, you know, what's going to be your legacy? What are you known for? Well, you're known for teaching people price action and a little bit on other stuff like personal development and, you know, things like that. Like you're known for being a teacher. Okay, great. A mentor, if you will. All right. Then that's what I'll do. That's what I'll run with. Now, as I mentioned earlier, how are you going to build a legacy when all of your content is controlled by somebody else? All that shit is gone in 2.5 seconds. It happened in January. It happened again a couple weeks ago. So what type of position does that put me in? And what type of position does that put other educators in? So it's either build a legacy with that control over your shoulder that it can be gone in an instant, or say, you know what, I'll branch off, I'll go to YouTube, and that way nobody can control it. I will have full control over my channel. So I'm not thinking about right now. I'm thinking about a year from now, 2, 3, 5 years from now. And so, you know, it is unfortunate that things ended up this way. But it is what it is, man. It's out of my control. Quite literally, it's out of my control. So, man, that's a good study though here. That's a good study right there. But there's only 18 minutes left in a day. I don't know if we're gonna make a new high. Probably not. And well, it's hard to really go off of anything that's in here. I mean, I don't really see what the buy was. I mean, unless you look at that as an imbalance, maybe. But I don't even look at it that way. At least not for today. I'd be interested, though, to see if we get that 4205 level. We've got this candle and 3 more. Let's see. Let's see if it extends up there. Maybe. Music video years ago and put it on someone else's channel to promote, and they took it down. And you don't even have the video? Yeah, see, that's fucked, man. But it goes the same with music too. A lot of artists that blow up fast, they get trapped because they sign a record deal and they didn't understand all of the things that come with that. You know, like look at someone like Taylor Swift, who had to go, you know, back and forth with whatever, and her music rights got sold to some other billionaire and all a bunch of bullshit, dude. You know, a lot of these artists now, their whole purpose is ownership. So they don't want to be part of a record label. They want to be independent because they want to own the rights to their music. Why do you think they do that? You know, these record labels, they'll look at an up and coming artist and be like, oh man, you know, we'll give you $500,000 or X amount of dollars, you know, to sign with our record label. And they're going to look at that quick money and go for it, not realizing that, number one, they gotta give all that money back over time, obviously, to the record label. But they're going to do that by, the record label is probably going to, you know, do their part in promotion and tours and stuff, but they're going to take the majority of the cash. So you might bring in, that artist might bring in, say, 100,000 from a show, and they're only going to see like 10K of it, 10, 20K out of that, because the majority is going to go to everybody else, managers, whatever staff, and then the record label is going to take a fat ass chunk, and so the artist, they're going to be making pennies on the dollar that they bring in. License agreements, yeah, it's all that bullshit, dude. So, I look at that, and so, I'm glad that I did what I did as far as doing my best, giving out all that content. A lot of people benefited from that. And that's what I'm focused on, really. I'm focused more on the positive side of that versus the fuckery. But you got to make chess moves, man. Sometimes you got to sacrifice a pawn to save the bishop, or sacrifice the queen to protect the king. It's just how it is. You can't be mad at that. That's the rules of the game. It's just the rules of the game. Oh, and the Dow did clear that high here. I don't know if we talked about that or not. I don't know if I mentioned that. I don't think so. I think I only mentioned the S&P. Well, anyway, for those of you that are still here, main focus today was discernment, understanding why this was likely the low of the day, in which it was. But the confusing part, or at least the hard part, was trying to discern whether this was bearish to go lower, or, we were struggling between seeing that the E-mini was lower, but that the micros were higher. So it was hard to discern whether that was going to be a low or not. So what did take place was the micro, or the E-mini, sorry. So the E-mini ran lower, and that was our low of the day. So E-mini, I guess, took precedence. But yeah, that pretty much wraps it up for today. So I gotta go and do a lot of stuff. I've been on the computer all day. I've been here through almost 3 hours with you. Before that, I was on the charts for I was on the computer like all day today, working on content for y'all. A little bit of marketing or whatever, and all that. So that's pretty much going to be it. If you guys have any last minute questions, now's the time before we hop off. We got to find a way to get more viewers on here. We got to find a way. You guys got to get some snipers too, man. Prop, Edgar, Danusin, Dog. Where are your snipers at? Where are your snipers at? He hit the tier 2 membership. British pound slightly trading higher. Silver, gold, not doing much here in the afternoon. He gave us a little bit of movement in the morning, but the afternoon's really not done a lot. Hasn't done all that much. And if anything, gold is lower here. Silver is higher there, but nothing really came from that, like afterward. I guess S&P didn't hit that high. Interesting. Is it true that the market begins to be more choppy in the summer weeks? I don't know. That's a good question. I never really looked at it that way. But there might be some merit to that. I don't know. It's a good question. But all right. I will see you guys. So the next live stream is going to be Friday. The only thing that is going to be tomorrow is the market review. All right. So the market review in the evening, and then that video comes out as well tomorrow in the I think in the morning. I'll pull that up real quick. Bro, these people keep ringing my fucking doorbell. This one comes out tomorrow. The Successful Traders Trio comes out tomorrow. Okay? So don't forget about that. That will be... It says 10 a.m. for me, but it's 11 a.m. Eastern. Okay? So tomorrow in the morning, you guys will get to see the Successful Traders Trio. All right? So don't forget about that. And yeah, Miguel, it'll come out as a video. Tuesdays and Thursdays aren't going to be live streams anymore. And I've updated that on my page. If you look at my page here, I've changed it. So it's live analysis Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern. And then our market review is in the form of a video on Tuesday and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. But be flexible with this, with the time of the video. And the only reason I say that is because some videos that are going to be longer, it's going to take more time to render and more time to edit. So it may not come out at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock Eastern. It may not come out right on the dot. It, you know, it could be a little bit later or a couple hours later. So just allow for a little bit of flexibility there. And it's not going to be time sensitive anyway. All right. Well, we're getting a little bit of volatility here the last 10 minutes. Huh. Yeah, S&P didn't meet that high. I'm a little surprised at that, to be honest. I'm a little bit surprised there. That is interesting. But yeah, we'll shut it down here. Y'all be blessed. Make sure to watch those videos tomorrow, and I'll see you guys here again on Friday. Bye. Oh, and check your email too.